Is one more time for them all, everybody. Come on, let's hear it. You didn't bring bubbly for all, Caity.
I just had lunch and I just realized I have something massive in my teeth. I just now felt it.
That's okay. That's part of the fan experience. They want to get.
I got it. It's a giant piece of lettuce. Hey!
At least it's green and we'll be able to see it easily.
Wow.
Are we covered? Are we good? I don't want everyone to look embarrassed on
She's
stage.
good, but now I'm like self-conscious.
Well, thank you all for being here. It's very exciting to have you. First off, congratulations. Season 5, Legends of Tomorrow, coming up in January. A date in January.
20-something. It's the last...
19th, thank you, sir.
January 19th.
Is it? Yeah. And that's the crossover episode.
Does it start? Do we kick? Yeah, we kick off.
Starts with the crossover, yeah.
Our episode 1 is the end of the crossover.
Ooh.
The finale of the crossover.
Yeah, I would love to. I know we can't, and we don't want to spoil it. I don't like spoilers. I know we don't like spoilers. So I don't. Even if you have questions about it, we're not going to be able to talk too much about the plot and the details. But I'd love to talk about everything surrounding it and how we've sort of come to this point in the series and led up to it. I would love to, all three of you, you two, Caity and Brandon, have played.
I'm standing in for Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you for coming out. Matt, unfortunately, is delayed due to flight, so he hopefully will be joining us at 6 p.m. But we're very excited to have Courtney here. How about Courtney for joining us last minute? She'll be here tomorrow again doing another Q&A, so we appreciate you coming and subbing in for Matt. So you're going to only answer as John Constantine during this time.
Can you do his accent for me?
No. He really did, it wasn't like he just slept in.
Mike.
No,
He texted me
Nick does
this
it good.
morning. We were supposed to be on the same flight, and he wasn't there, and he couldn't find his passport. And then there was another problem with the passport. But
yeah, he was coming from Vancouver, I think, filming overnight, and so unfortunately just missed it. But he's trying to get here, which is awesome, because it would be very easy for him to get.
I was like, we're at the panel, I want to FaceTime, but he's on the plane.
I missed my flight, love. No wonder
But
he
he's
sounds like Irish. That was terrible.
I'm gonna try it anyway.
We're gonna try right now.
He was like, let's try.
Yeah, if he's got T-Mobile and he's on Delta.
I mean, texts were working, but anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm just saying, it's such an interesting universe, right? Oh my gosh, do we have him?
Oh my God, did you get him? Is he like in
We
the
can't
air?
see you. Are you there? That was anticlimactic.
You just he'll start. Oh.
We can hear you.
Yeah, it sounds like he's taking. They might be at this point. He's missed a couple, and they might be on a private plane.
Tell him to text any messages.
Oh.
Or like a voice text.
We can text him questions, and I'll text back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thing we're doing this live. I enjoy it. Let's talk about your start in this series, in the Arrowverse. Both of you played, first of all, Brad, I'd love to go back and just talk about Superman as Superman. But first off, you played an awesome character, Ray Palmer, the Atom, and has continued to. Caity, you started as the Canary, and then died, came back, and now the Canary. Wasn't always the Black Canary, and then we've changed the names a bunch. How was it going into starting on Arrow, and then realizing, okay, we got this new show, we've got this new idea that we're going to kind of spin off here, but it's got a whole new feel and everything like that. So, creating the characters and then bringing them to a different, not a different universe, but a different style of show.
How was that?
Yeah, just kind of going from one to the other, and then kind of having your own vehicle as this group of characters, if you will.
It was a cool and unique opportunity. Certainly coming on to Arrow in season 3 was a lot of fun. I got to bring some light and humor to the show, and that's what I was looking to do as career-wise, was to do more comedy and levity, and so I was grateful for that opportunity. And then moving on to Legends, I got to do that even more, because Legends, as the seasons have gone on, has gotten more crazy and wacky and comedic, so that's been great for me.
That's a subtle way of
pushing the envelope, along with what the writers have given us to do. So it's been a cool transition, and happy to be on Legends and to be doing more of that silliness.
Yeah, same thing for you, Caity. I know coming from the ultra serious, in a comic book way, Arrow, and then coming into the very lighthearted, silly, wacky Legends.
Yeah, I mean, because Sarah Lance definitely wasn't levity.
Right.
She's quite dark. And it was weird at first because, like, even reading the first script and there was these jokes, and I'm like, this does not feel like my character, because it was way more lighthearted, and it was weird because you get so used to being like, okay, this is who I am, like, this is who the character is, and then all of a sudden you have to, like, learn how to be that character in a new kind of setting, like you have to find another part of her personality.
Yeah.
So that was like, it was interesting.
Well, the series has continued to like reimagine itself. Even from the first season, which was trying things out for the first time, and then we've had the team rotate a lot. With new people coming in. Courtney, how was it coming like sort of into the fold, if you will? Now
Well,
that
my
it's
character started on Arrow, but she was 10 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the character arc is there
she did.
still.
She was kidnapped with her mother by someone. Nope. Oh God! What?
John Barrowman?
Nope, the daughter. Daughter?
Tally.
Yeah, that's it.
Talia?
Thea?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kidnapped me.
She killed me.
There's a lot of episodes of Arrow. We're still going.
Yeah, and then there was a character in that episode that I think killed my mother, and he played my son on Supernatural.
Whoa.
Alexander Calvert played, and I can't remember who he played on Arrow. Did that mask on? What? Anarchy!
These guys are good. This is
He played
good.
Anarchy
Yeah.
on Arrow, and then he played, Jack on Supernatural. Anyway.
Yeah. So.
CW.
No, I know. My gosh. I mean, it's huge, and it's such an awesome vehicle for the DC characters that we know and love. Because I would say it has felt a little short in the film and Hollywood movie department, and so to see all these characters being portrayed on TV has been super awesome. Just recently, not your movie, Brandon. We love Superman returning, but when he was versing Batman, it was a different story. But Courtney, how about coming into the fold? Coming in, season 3. Now we've established ourselves. We've got this set team, and you get to be, part of that sort of back and forth character, good, bad.
I think, it's been amazing, obviously. But yeah, kind of like what Caity said, I'm just going to move this closer so I don't have to turn it over so much. Hello! It started off being quite serious, and my TV dad, Damien Dark, started off on Arrow as well, and that very, dark. Hey, sir. Kind of vibe, and then coming over to Legends, still in Legends, my character was still, she's possessed by a demon and all these things. So that's very dark. But then as the character started to lighten up more and more with the influence of the light of Ray Palmer and Brandon Routh. And then Neil got to play. So he's so funny.
Yeah.
And he's, Damien's always had that humor, but then he really got to go, ooh, and then, oh my God, I almost just did a really terrible spoiler.
Oh man. Yeah. You got woo, and then
And it
almost
almost
dropped it.
just went, bleh!
We've all
Take
just
it back.
formulated. Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
I was mentally sending
You were?
you a message.
I felt it. I felt the stop in her
Yeah.
speech from your brain.
It's been wonderful. Okay.
How much influence did you all have sort of in the development or, the continuation of the humor? You mentioned the humor and Brandon, you being really excited about it, and it started on Arrow, but then, in Legends, how was it being part of the process of just creation of the characters and the scripts and things like that?
Yeah, well, the first season of Legends, some people had jokes, but mostly it was me. And then, like, big jokes. And then there was, like, the sarcasm coming from Heatwave and Captain Cold and little bits and bobs. And even as the season progressed, it started to get a little more jokey and fun. That was always more lighthearted than the other shows.
Sure.
But since that's my first love is comedy, I kept pushing the envelope, whenever I could, improving at the end of scenes or putting call them buttons at the end of things.
Sure.
Sometimes that stuff would get used, or physical humor would come in. You just find stuff by having a great cast who rolls with it. Because some actors would be like, you changed the line, or you did this, or you didn't tell me you were going to do that. I said, well, genius struck. I just, if I planned and told you, then it wouldn't be as funny.
Like that time that Nick spit in your face.
Oh, yes.
Has that aired yet?
That was last season. Yeah, that was last season. The first one was a surprise, kind of. We kind of maybe talked about it, and I didn't know if he was going to do it for sure.
He did drink one of those.
All
into this.
Yeah.
You made me laugh last season. I was watching it when you were coming in through the hallway and Garima comes and you're like, yes, Garima, beer. You know what happened till I cried. Yes, beer.
And as the seasons have progressed, we've all felt more comfortable to do that.
Yeah,
We're all kind of pushing the envelope and feeling comfortable with our comedy, and that's where the genius of the show comes in, is in the relationship of the characters. It doesn't matter what the story, the story is important, right? We have to have some central focus, and we have to have villains. But the real magic of the show is the relationships, the interaction between the characters, and they could be doing the most inane thing, but if you have characters that the audience loves, that's what people connect to in the show. You can have the biggest, craziest story, but if people don't care about the characters that are on the show and the relationships between the characters, then it's not going to work.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned the cast being so strong and willing and able to be a part of that. And I think we definitely see that. Even as the different characters have come and changed, or we lost them due to storylines, we always replace them with another fun thing that just amps it up. So we go from 3 to 4, we add Matt Ryan, who's on his way.
He has a message.
Oh.
How do you pronounce that? Okay.
True.
Hold the line. Stick with me. If you find yourself in green fields with the sun on your face, do not be afraid, for you are in Elysium, and you are already dead.
And he really talks like that. No, really. If you're like,
Laughing emoji,
Is that from Gladiator?
laughing emoji, thumbs up.
Gladiator?
So sorry I'm late. Face emoji.
Sad face.
But if you're like, oh man, I'm having kind of a bummer day.
We should have
He's
quoted.
like, don't worry because your heart is through the valley of the blood. If the blade, you're like, oh.
So he is John Constantine. We can say he is the
He really talks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, again, you mentioned everyone kind of bonding together to embrace the silliness and the fun. Anyone who sticks particularly out, that's not here, that feels like they add a lot to that, what you were kind of describing, Brennan?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Comedy or?
Yeah.
You know whose secret comic genius is Dom?
Oh, yeah.
That character, for the most part, I give the writers all the credit for the comedy and where the show is. Dom, he created his own character. I feel like Brandon and Dom really took the humor to the next level.
Yes.
Here.
Heat Wave was not Heat Wave. He rewrites everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I imagine it. It seems like that, with some of the lines. Was there a particular time in the series, you were talking about the evolution of the series a little bit, that it felt like, no holds barred, we got this, we're locked in, we can have a lot of fun with this?
Well, I think
After we
did, we were all hesitant. We've talked many times in conventions about our hesitancy about the first time Bebo appeared in the Viking world, and that being very jarring. We're like, is this going to work? I don't know. And to be honest, that episode, some of it works and some of it's, the intro is awesome, but some of the stuff when we have Bebo in the actual Viking area, I'm like, I don't know. But it's the payoff, it builds as the season goes. And I think the payoff is the finale, the season 3 finale, which is just, we watched it with cast and crew at Mark Guggenheim's house when we'd all wrapped the season, and I hadn't seen it yet, and it was ridiculous, but also I was with it, and I loved it, and it worked in the tone of the show. I thought, wow, we did this show is amazing, because we have these crazy things, but somehow it works in the context of the show, and we can kind of do whatever we want from now on, because again, the world is there, the characters are locked in, and you watch and you believe because the characters believe it, and the characters that have been written that we've created, collaborated with, are the cornerstone of the show, the anchor of the show.
What did you think when you first read Bebo's the Viking episode? Like when you
it was when we were filming it, and
I was
I
terrified.
remember Maisie and Nick like sneaking out behind holding the Bebo doll, and it's such a fine line to walk between being stupid and amazing. Like, and this was before we really ventured into that territory, so like we were like, is this just stupid? Like, you have a Tickle Me Elmo doll that they think is God. You know, it's like, that's a big chance there. But it was awesome, you know? And that's the amazing thing about the writers is they've really, like, that's not an easy line to toe.
Yeah.
And they're towing it and they're still going and still pushing it. Like, it's really cool.
I read it and it was like Nora shoots an arrow at a levitating Bebo while he like laughs, you know, maniacally. I'm like, hi, I love you, and I was like, what's happening? Oh my god! You know, and on the day it was a pole with like a tennis ball on it, and I was like, I'll kill you! And but it works. It was amazing.
Well, you have to put it must be tough or difficult or fun, I don't know, to put that much trust into the show creators and the writers, specifically on a show like this, because, you know, there's been so many great, I mean, we could go, forget Bebo.
Puppets.
Yeah, puppets and all the rebirths and deaths and back from the dead. And I feel like it really embraces like the true comic book style, which is why it's so awesome.
Zari turned into a cat.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so many things going back and forth. Brandon, I would love to just, your Clark Kent in Superman Returns was brilliant and amazing, and I think, and we were all fans at the time, and I think it just settled, you know, in an interesting point in time where, you know what I mean, it just wasn't, it just didn't continue along that way, and we were all, I know like, there were so many things online, you must have read of people like bring Brandon back, and then, you know, things happen in Hollywood, things change and stuff, and so I know I speak for everyone, we're so excited for you to be back as a Superman with us here today, and I would just love to hear just about, again, no spoilers, but just about the excitement of returning, like, how were you approached by it, like, when did the idea come to fruition, and then knowing you're already a character on this show, and sort of how that's evolved to you returning as Superman.
Well, thank you. Superman has always been a very important character, an opportunity for me in my life, launched my career largely, and you know, I think there are a lot of feelings to be had about Superman Returns, and I think I always do my best to see that movie as a transitionary film, bringing the character into a new age, and transition from Christopher Reeve, which anybody who would have taken on that role would have had a challenge to do. So I'm very proud of what that film did and where it's put Superman and where he's evolving to, you know, through the various people who've played him since. And I felt like I had more to do with the character. I always definitely felt I would have liked another opportunity. And especially as I've gotten older, I've learned more about myself and life and the world that I thought, man, I could really do this so much better because I have so much more maturity and wisdom and all kinds of things that Superman should have. But I didn't really, I hoped that maybe I'd have an opportunity to do this again, but didn't really think it was a true possibility. But then Mark Guggenheim called up during hiatus last season and asked if I floated the idea of being Superman again in the Crisis event, and I said, wow, I'm honored, flattered that you would even ask me. Let me just think about that to make sure that that's the best decision for me. And I talked it over with Courtney and thought about it myself and realized that, you know, this was a great opportunity for me to kind of close the door that I hadn't fully closed before. And you know, thankfully Mark was very open to talking to me about what it was going to look like and listening to me creatively about what I was, you know, finding a balance between what he needed to be in the storyline and what I wanted to have holdover from Superman Returns. Sure. And so we found a nice amalgam of those two characters those two storylines and kind of put them into the same character. There's a lot of confusion about what the character is and who the character is, and people truly have to, because I can't spoil it all, but they have to watch the event, the Crisis episodes to know. But it is that Superman from Superman Returns in a different world, that storyline, but in the future things have happened that are similar to what happens in the Kingdom Come version of Superman. So it's a new-ish version. But combining those two worlds into it. And so anyway, I was very honored to be able to play the character again, going through the whole process of trying on the suit, being in the suit, having such a wonderful, amazing response on social media from people liking the suit, and meant a tremendous amount to me. So I appreciate all of you who've responded and liked and just been a part of the process. It means a lot to me to know that it means a lot to you guys, because that's what I'm doing it for. Yeah. I'm not doing it for. It was in those moments where like this is, as much as it's for me, it's for everyone else. Because if nobody else cares, then what does it matter to me? Sure. So it's a team effort anyway. I appreciate it, and I'm excited for people to see it. And I feel now the door's closed. So awesome. No matter what comes next, I'm grateful for it, and left it all out on the field.
Very cool. Very cool.
Closure.
Yeah. Who's more excited?
That Superman costume. Pretty.
You did get. I think you got the coolest one. I gotta admit.
Yeah.
100%.
The Kingdom Come style. Yeah, it's awesome.
Our son came to see him when he was dressed as Superman, but our son was dressed as Spider-Man. Because that's like the king in our house.
Yeah.
It's you would think, hey, I'm the Superman. No, I'm Spider-Man. And so it was, we had the Marvel DC crossover.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's Marvel versus DC. That's a fan fiction dream.
Yeah.
Who won? Spider-Man or
They just posed.
They just posed.
Pose off.
It was a pose off.
Awesome. Let's turn it over to you. I know we have some questions out there. So if you have a question, just raise your hand, stand up. Yeah, let's start over there.
How did this storyline come about for Gary's nipple?
I don't. Nipple. You'd have to have the writers here to talk about that. But I think what they do great. What our writing team does really great is they take something that happened early on in the season and they remember it. And they tie it back into the end. They bookend it, which is really great. So I don't think, I doubt very highly that at the beginning when the horse unicorn bit off his nipple, did they think it was going to come back in the way it did later in the season. But they remember that and like, hey, we could use this to gross comedic effect.
Jess McCallan and I couldn't get through that scene though when Sisa, who plays, Wolf Mona, was like, you hypnotize him with his nipple. And every time she'd say that, we were like, ah!
And as Neron having to present his nipple to him in a box.
Yeah. And then it
was
move?
really just strange.
Did it talk?
Yeah, it didn't talk, but they had very different, they had all these, I saw all these different animations they had of how it was going to move, or if it was going to crawl or walk, what it was going to look like, yeah. So,
why?
Most of those they threw away, thankfully.
I really do love our writers.
Yeah.
Like, imagine sitting in a room with other people and being like, what if we make the nipple hypnotize people? Like,
Hypnotize. That's what Jess McCallan had to say.
who thinks of this?
Give that woman
Like,
an Emmy.
as a job. Like, they're in a professional studio, Warner Brothers, and like, this is what they're coming up with. It's amazing. Like,
Yeah, and they bring it, and we love it. What I'm interested in is if there's someone in the audience who hasn't seen these episodes and is like, what is going on with that show? Like, go back.
Oh, really?
No, go back.
You've never seen it?
Yeah.
But what now? Are you like, oh my god, I need to see the show?
Yeah, it's nothing. I mean, it's what the crossover is there, obviously, of the characters, but it really is in its own world thing. You know what I mean? And its own style, and that's why it's so much fun to watch. Because we take our serious Arrow, which we're about to lose. We have our fun, lighthearted Flash. But then to like really, I think the most enjoyable to me is watching you all go through these ridiculous situations.
Some might say it's the best superhero show on TV.
Yeah.
You know who said that? Rolling Stone.
That's right.
Rock and roll.
I think we agree.
There was also something about Legends of Tomorrow's stupidity brings it into the best. I left that part out. That's like the beginning of it, but it does end with best superhero show.
Wasn't it also AV Club's top 50 shows of the decade or something like that?
Yeah.
Top of the decade. Somebody said that.
Top of the decade, someone. I
That's
like that you
so-
can pop in and out too. It's not like you don't have to. There is the overarching storyline, but each episode has its own standalone. So that's why it's such a great show for fans. If you haven't started, just pop into an episode and you'll see like the fun that's being had, and then you can kind of go back and.
You can skip the first season. Start with season 2.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's value.
It's good, but it's not the same show.
Tonally, it's different.
Like, it's a different show now. It wasn't bad. It's just a
It
different
evolved.
show.
It evolved.
Yeah.
We have a question over there, gentleman standing up. Hey.
Hey, I have a question. Is it true Burt Ward is going to be in
Burt Ward rumors.
Yeah, I think that's
been a narrative.
verified on Twitter. Yeah,
Is he going to be digitally de-aged?
Oh, I don't know how they did it. I just know that he's in part of the crisis.
Do you think it's possible to resurrect Christopher Reeve, George Reeve, Adam West, Heath Ledger, Cesar Romero, before the crisis in the Infinite Universe?
You're saying, do you think would be possible to bring them all in?
Resurrect them in CGI.
Oh, like that James Dean now is going to be the lead of a movie.
Wait, what?
Yeah. They're recreating James Dean, like how with the technology that they did for Gemini Man with Will Smith, and it was his younger thing was just it's computer.
We are all
person.
going to be out of
But
jobs
that's
soon.
but that's the thing. They're like, we couldn't find anyone. And they're like, let's cast James Dean. So he's going to star in this war movie.
Yeah, but who's acting as James Dean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And
Somebody deciding what he's going to look like. And
yeah.
Somebody else's facial movements.
Brendan, how do you feel about that? I mean, it's, obviously, Chris Reeve, when with us, made appearances on Smallville as a character. And you said he was such an influence on you and like a lot of your take. But how would you feel if they came and said, hey, we're going to digitally recreate this character to be on this show? I don't know.
I don't think that's probably something that should be done.
I agree. Yeah.
I'd be like, pay me.
Yeah.
They're also doing that without their consent.
Yeah.
They can't consent to that.
Well, they did this like with Star Wars. They brought General Tarkin, right? Yeah, back. So that it's been sort of done before, but it doesn't feel real or.
I mean, the thing is, you can't. Somebody has to animate it. Somebody has to create and decide the facial movements and the emotion that person's speaking with. So that's not true to the original actor and the soul and the person that inhabited that body. So it would not be real. It would always be fake and not the way.
Yeah,
as my son would say.
Not
Awesome.
this way.
Any other questions out there? Yeah. Hey.
You guys go back and forth between comedy and like intense drama, sometimes in the same episode. What is it like to swing back and forth between those emotions? And is there like a favorite or like a hardest time?
I actually love to do that because I feel like that's kind of how real life is, right? You can experience something awful and then something absolutely absurd happens in that exact moment, So it feels more normal to me, I guess, to be like, oh, this awful thing, but then, oh my God, this awful, silly thing happened and now we're going to laugh about it. I think I like that more than just like pure drama all the time. Or like, everything's fine and nothing ever makes us sad. That's my favorite. And so I think that's maybe why, this is one of the favorite jobs I've ever had, that and Parenthood, because that had that, obviously we have puppets and Bebos, but it has that real life quality where, things are absurd, man, and it's sad and silly and wonderfully weird.
And as an actor, it's interesting to find that balance too, because you have to have the energy match in the scene. So you have to figure out, as everyone, even though it's not necessarily something we speak about, but energetically, emotionally, we all kind of have to figure out, if you're here for this and then I have this joke, how do I how much joke is in it? It's not up here, but it's just here. And if you find the right balance, it's kind of gratifying to find that.
Emotional math.
Emotional math.
It goes back, it goes back to the nuances of the script, and maybe, Caity, your point of the line, you know what I mean, and how to toe that line is maybe in that brilliance, you know what I mean, of bringing in the seriousness and the drama too. So it's not just all silly, like you said, Courtney, you know.
That's what makes it work. If you just are one note the whole time, it's doesn't work and it's not interesting. I think that's been the challenge with some of the film adaptations of superhero movies that have come out, is they're one note, one direction, and they don't have that layered quality that other superhero films do have a lot of.
Yeah.
Our show has it in spades.
Yeah. Best show, Rolling Stone, right? I mean, come on, best superhero show. Hey. Yeah.
I think I speak for everyone when I say, thank you all for being here, and also, Brandon, thank you so much for saying yes to Magus and I when he asked you. And the question that we have is basically, how did it feel suiting up?
It was a really unique experience to. I was more giddy this time than I was the first time. Because I wasn't anxious and worried and all the other, early emotions I had, 15, 14 years ago. So it was very cool, and a culmination of all the work that I'd done, and gratifying. And I was just so happy with the suit. They did such an amazing job. I felt so powerful and just very excited. Very, very excited. And excited for everyone to see it.
Caity, your character's evolved a lot too over the years, from, the Sarah Lance of Arrow into that Canary and then into the White Canary that was like not secondary member, but wasn't in charge and then took over, the captainship of the ship. Is there a particular Sarah Lance or Canary that you like the best or you feel like is the most fun for you or has been over the years?
I always loved playing the early Sarah Lance. I love dark drama. I do. I love it. And there was a lot of that, and so that was really fun. And especially second season, I really got to do a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like just water stunts and like it's just so much action. It was awesome. The new Sarah Lance, it's been fun and it's changing all the time. And sometimes it's like great being the captain, being the boss. And other times I'm like, I want to be the character that just gets to mess around. You just have to be in charge and on top of everything all the time. So it's been fun, like playing with the comedy and like even talking about this now. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta remember to like keep playing with the comedy, keep going with it.
Giving yourself some acting notes. That's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Hey.
So I'm a big fan of Kevin Conroy when he did Batman, the animated series. Are you guys looking forward to working with them if you haven't yet?
Well, all the Crisis stuff has been filmed already, so. But I know there's a lot of excitement about that. I think he's probably going to bring a great presence to the Crisis crossover.
Yeah, was there anyone that particular? I mean, because it was sort of as fans we found out additions kind of randomly, a little bit at a time. Was there one that particularly stuck out to any of you as like getting excited about this particular crossover? Because in the past, all the crossovers have been some of the best episodes of these shows, but it's always been within the universe, So now to just do this extended universe, anything that stuck out to you that just made you even more excited besides Brandon, your obvious one of you being chosen to play Superman?
Is this a spoiler?
I think that's known, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Black Lightning.
Yeah.
Like we got Black Lightning out of it. Like that, I think that's awesome. Who else? Actually, I got to work with Grant a lot, and Grant and I didn't work much together on the other crossovers.
Oh yeah.
And I really loved working with him. Like, that was really nice. Yeah.
It was cool working with another Superman. That was a first
Yeah.
for me. Tyler's great, and we had a lot of fun. We have quite a bit of stuff together.
Cool.
In the Crisis event, and it was a good time. It was very cool.
Yeah, was it hard? I guess you really had to like lock into like, okay, who is my Superman? You talked about it a little bit. This, as an actor, you're portraying the Superman Returns Superman just in this new world. Was there any not confusion, but like, how was it sort of talking to the same character? In a different universe?
We have very different takes on the character. So,
Yeah.
and I'd seen what his some of his previous episodes, and so I kind of knew going in that we had a different take on both Superman and Clark. So
Sure.
I think I'm not treading on anybody's ground there, or however the phrase is. So we were good.
Awesome, excellent. Yeah, I think we have time for a couple more questions. How about ready?
First, thanks everybody for being here. I'm so excited. I have a stupid question for Brandon. Which suit was more comfortable, the Superman suit or the Atom suit?
Which Superman suit?
You can include both if you want.
Oh.
The most comfortable suit is probably the most recent suit, the Kingdom Come version of the Superman suit. Yeah. So the Atom suit got more comfortable as I was wearing it, but for a long period of time, it's all of the armored pieces get a little bit binding for the back and my posture, and I had to get into better shape to become Superman again. So when I did that, then the Atom suit didn't fit as well because I got bigger. Even though it has some adjustment ability, it made that more confining. But the new Superman suit was made better. They just so much technology. The team that made it did a great job. Really listened to me. I had more input, which was awesome, about how I could fly in it and move in it. So
Awesome. Yeah, how about in the back over there?
Yes, I have a question for you, Brandon. This dates back to Superman Returns. What was going through your head during your fight with Kevin Spacey, who did Lex Luthor, huh?
yeah, there's a unique opportunity. There's not a lot that Superman and Lex have to do on the screen, so I was very conscious of that fact and very nervous, being on screen with him at the same time. Way back then, I had done a lot of work, but that was an amazing set. Just huge. It took up a whole sound stage of the big planet Krypton, or the island, New Krypton that they made. So that was extremely powerful just to be in it. You didn't have to do much pretending. So it was a little anxious making, but proud of that scene.
Yeah, right here.
I have a question for Caity. I saw Juliana in October at LA Comic Con, and I want the Green Arrow and the Canaries spin-off has been announced, and I was wondering if you had anything to say about that, or if you feel like you're going to be in it.
I say, hell yeah, I want to see that show. Yeah, those women are awesome. I love them dearly. I don't think I need to spin off anymore.
He's already been resurrected.
I've been spun around.
What about this? Exciting, we know Crisis is kicking us off, but what about the Legends season 5? Anything you're excited for? Again, without spoiling too many episodes, but things that you're looking forward to character-wise, or character arc, or episode?
How do you not spoil?
Yeah, I know.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I got one. Episode 5 I directed.
Whoa.
We have seen it. It is amazing. That action will blow your pants right off.
It's a fun one. I got a really cool action episode.
Yeah. Well, because you were directing it, so more action for me.
She kicked serious ass. She
Yeah.
just was like, I'm a director. Boom, kicked in the door. And directing's hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard, so much work. I loved it, but I was like, oh yeah, this is.
It's cool to see it from the other side.
Well, you know what? You didn't get to see your own face. directing. You were calm. Listen, you were calm.
And I was like, I did one scene.
No. Let me tell you a little bit about directors on Legends. They all do a wonderful job, but there's always a day, like day 4 or 5. It's like 3 in the morning, and they come on set and they're like, "Hey guys," and they just look like they're just like, "Oh my god, that they've given me a movie to direct in 9 days," you know, and that never happened to you. You know, we're waiting for you to be like,
It was
"Oh
just
my God."
happening on the inside.
But you didn't let it show. Like, you never looked like, "Oh my God, I'm in the weeds and I can't." You were just like, "I got this. I got this. I got this."
Dude,
and the result was effing amazing. My child is here, so I don't want to be like,
Oh, that was that amazing.
it was darn amazing.
Darn amazing. Well, I know I speak for everyone when we're super excited for season 5 and Crisis. We thank you for being here. Check them out at their booths over there for today and tomorrow. Please give it up one more time for